Witnesses watch on. Police officers perform their duty as one of their own is taken to the hospital. Good evening. Police say a chase that crossed town lines ended in a collision. The crash brought down a light pole on top of a police cruiser with that officer inside. 29-year-old Officer Jonathan Negron has been with the Buffalo Police Department for 2 years. He is in the trauma unit at ECMC tonight in critical condition.
Buffalo police cars remained here at ECMC throughout the day, where 29-year-old Buffalo police officer Jonathan Negron remains in critical condition. Fellow officers rushed him here this afternoon. This video from a witness shows the scene at Harlem Road moments after a light pole fell through C District Officer Jonathan Negron's car. Negron suffered a serious head injury.
This was a very short duration event that led to the horrific injury this officer sustained.
Police say a call came in at 12:58 for 4 people with a gun inside a white car. 3 minutes later, officers tried to stop the car at Crossman and Genesee. The car didn't stop, drove through Mount Calvary Cemetery, and crashed into 2 parked cars and a light pole. The pole fell through Officer Negron's car. In a statement, Buffalo Police Benevolent Association President John Evans says, quote, "Obviously through his actions, Jonathan is a dedicated officer from the C District, saying he's demonstrated a strong work ethic from day one."
I'm Jon Allysa Negron. This is my wife, Allysa Negron, and we work for the City of Buffalo Police Department. I'm newly retired medically. She's still on the job, working actively.
Now, mind you, when he was on, we were new homeowners and new parents, and going through COVID. So it was kind of triple whammy. I remember saying to him back then, if we can get through these 3 things, we'll get through anything, because we're talking about newborn, new house with all these new projects, and the world is shut down. So even though we worked the same time at the same shift at the same place, we never rode into work together, and we never rode home together, which I always thought was kind of funny. We weren't partners. We never drove together in a car. We kind of like kept that separate. And then we come home, we were just Allysa and John, and we weren't Officer Negron. And you know what I mean? It was just, he'd tell me about his day because he had different experiences on the street, and I tell him about my day and my different experiences on the street. But it was just nice to have that. He knows what I went through, and I know what he went through.
I think I only hit the streets as a road cop for less than 7 months until my accident happened. Obviously, June 3rd, normal day. I was supposed to be with my partner, Christina, and she was, I think, stationed at the Broadway Market because we needed an officer at the Broadway Market, so I was a single man car at the time. What I can remember is a call came out and I just hopped on the radio and included myself. What the transmission said, there was kids in the car with guns. Some passerby or some homeowner just saw it and called 911. They had officers already had eyes on the vehicle, and they took off from them. And then I just knew where the area was, so I beelined to that section. And there, I just...
So he may not really remember what happened leading up to it and during the time of it, but I worked that same day, same shift, same time, so I remember every detail of that day. And like he was saying, it was a gun call where a neighbor or somebody spotted a car, a suspicious looking car with 3 or 4 teens, and they looked like they had guns in the car. So he did go over there. Another patrol car had noticed that car. They started taking pursuit of that car. The suspect vehicle went into the cemetery, and when it was exiting the one way out, it just made a wide left turn and hit a pole, utility pole, in which it just completely lifted from the base and just went airborne as John's patrol charger was coming towards the suspect vehicle. It had instant impact with his charger. Hit his right side of his face area. He sustained, obviously, a brain injury. His orbital bone here fractured. Bone hit the back of the nerve, which caused some peripheral damage to his vision. And his right ear was almost completely severed off. And then from there, just the dispatch radio, the officers were on scene. We're like, we need ambulance. We have an officer unconscious. We have an officer bleeding. I remember myself going on the radio and saying like, who is it, because just that gut feeling was like, who got hurt? And nobody responded. And I remember this silence, and I looked at my partner at the time. I said, we have to go. It's Jon. I kind of went over the radio. I was like, put him in a car, get him to the hospital. Don't wait for an ambulance. Put him in a car, get him to the hospital. And then you hear people are like, we're escorting this officer to the hospital. They get there in 2 minutes, right, all through it. And as he's driving by me, I see his legs sticking out of the back seat of the window because they wanted to keep him straight. And I noticed right away that it's Jon. And we go into the hospital, and it's just total chaos. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was shot. I don't know how or what happened. Nobody would really tell me anything either. And we all just were in this like family common room, just like pacing, because we were like, we don't know what's going on. Like there's no answers. And now we're going like 6 or 7 hours later. And the neurosurgeon came in, and he was like, yeah, he suffered a pretty serious injury, but he's healthy. He's young. He doesn't smoke, which is a big thing with brain injuries. And he was like, he's going to be fine. And that instantly was like, okay. And in my mind, I was like, okay, then I could figure everything else out. We would visit him in ICU, hooked up to every machine. Machines breathing for him. And I remember just going in and just talking to him. And I always have his hand on my hand. And it was just weird. It was just a feeling of like, I would walk into the room, and then I feel like I was being watched, like watching myself be in the room. It was like a weird feeling for me. And I mean, at this time, our son was 7 months old.
All of it's a blur. Woke up in the hospital. Immediately thought I got into a motorcycle accident because I used to ride Harleys, and that was not the case.
I was like, do you know what happened? Do you know how you got here? And he was like, motorcycle accident. And I was like, no, it was a work accident. And then I think you thought 2 cars. And I explained, no, there's a pole. And then you're like, what? Like,
yeah,
a pole.
Seen
and
pictures
it's just,
and videos, and I'm like,
yeah,
don't remember that.
yeah. So coming towards the end of our stay at ECMC, I had a coworker that was sort of like my buffer between people who were, because we were blessed with so many people that wanted to come and help and do anything. And so he was like our buffer to, I'd say, the outside world, because I was so focused on the inside of what was going on. And he told me that this organization called Op Overwatch is looking to reach out to us and see if they can provide dinners for 5 days when we come home from the hospital. And I think I quickly was just like, yeah, sure, and just kind of brushed it off. And then as the days came very close to us getting home, or we might have even been home, I believe Dave or Mel reached out to me and was like, hey, we're still looking to do that. And I go, yeah, we'll love it, sure. And we received 5 dinners. And the last day, Dave and Mel came, and we sat down with them, and they gave us some information on Op Overwatch. And immediately I was like, this is cool, this is different. Like, I'd never heard of something like this before. And Dave and Mel never really stopped contacting us and reaching out to us and checking on us, which was nice. And it was actually Christmas in the Corral that year, 2021, that we attended. And we sat right over there, I remember. And I don't think I looked over with you maybe but 2 times, because I was just so focused. And I was just like almost mesmerized about what was going on, and looking around the whole place and just hearing Dave, hearing other people come up and say messages. And I was just like, this is so cool. And I feel so relaxed, and I feel so welcomed. And I'm like, this is cool. And knowing that mostly everybody in here is law enforcement, it's just kind of like, they know the days that I have. They know the days that he has. Someone to talk to if I needed to talk to. And I wanted more of it. So from the Christmas in the Corral, I think we both then were more involved in Op Overwatch, even if it was going over someone's house for a dinner or snacks.
Camaraderie is big. I mean, for me at least, the fellowship is huge. Op Overwatch offers OTRs, which is extremely helpful for me and for others too, and I can't emphasize this even more. I mean, the struggles that I have, that person right next to you very well could understand and had the same struggle. Might be a little bit different, tweak a little bit things up, maybe even worse. But we don't compare. We it's just a bunch of guys just talking, just expressing emotion, and it's something that doesn't seem like it's masculine, but it is. It's normal. We're trying to normalize our trauma. I mean, we got Vietnam vets that come to OTRs. Guys who are 60, 70 sharing stories is just amazing, and they're still hurt by it, but we come together and we talk about it. We normalize that it's okay if you still feel like that after 30 years. Let's reconstruct that thought process into something better, and I just love it.
One thing was for sure when we got home from the hospital is Jon wanted to learn more. His eagerness to learn more about God and the Bible was so strong, and I was all for it. He's like, I want to start going to church, and I was like, let's do it. I was right on board, and then again we started coming to Op Overwatch events, and I was meeting different people that were plugged into the center church, and then we kind of just were like, let's go to church and let's see what that's like. As I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the second service, I was so comfortable. I was just so like, this is what I know. This is what I love. This is what I need. I know it sounds pretty corny, but like everything happens for a reason, right? I even say this with his accident, that if it didn't happen, I don't think he would be the father he would be right now. I don't think he would be the husband that he would be right now. The way that he is so attentive to our family now, now bringing in the word and learning how husband should love his wife, how husband should treat his family. Now it all is like, for him, I mean, I can't answer for you, I guess, but at least from what I see, he's really using it. Like he's really learning from it.
The word is the truth. I mean, how can you sit there and deny what he's saying, what encountered? Like, that's the truth. And I've been searching, and I've asked Dave, the pastor here, why? My question was why? Why me? Why now? During a very high time for us, new homeowners, new parents, and then this traumatic event. There's something more. I have a purpose. I've just wanted to relate my children into how men should act and be, build them up with courage and character of our Savior, Jesus Christ.